pretty. But the neckline was stretched taut, revealing a deep, pale valley. Even though she had prepared herself, she couldn't help but blush, her heart pounding with a sudden anxiety. If he sees this, will he like it? Or not? Will he stop looking at other girls? Normally, she'd have to cover it up, but now. Outside, Cole was chatting idly with the shop owner when he heard a small, feminine voice from the dressing room. Can you come here for a second? Figuring she was done changing, Cole walked over to the dressing room. He turned the corner, and his first reaction was, she's beautiful. This was the kind of dress she was meant to wear. But in the next instant, Cole froze. A bolt of lightning from the heavens crashed through his mind, scrambling his thoughts, short-circuiting his endocrine system, and detonating every hormone in his body. His veins felt like they were flooding. Oh my God, you're having a nosebleed. As mortified and anxious as Luna was about revealing herself, the sight of two red lines trickling from Cole's nostrils sent her into a panic. Forgetting everything else, she turned, fumbled in the pocket of her discarded jeans for the tissues she always carried, and rushed over to him. Oh no, it's getting worse, she fretted, pressing a tissue to his nose. Tilt your head up. Cole dazedly did as he was told, his mind a roaring buzz. Let me bleed to death. This is a good way to go. There's so much blood. Luna used the last tissue to plug his nostrils. The shop owner heard the commotion and walked over, then broke into a suppressed laugh, her eyes wide with a mix of astonishment, envy, and admiration. Who would have thought? She must have been hiding it. You hold this, Luna instructed Cole. I'll go ask the owner for more tissues. No, stay. Just like this. You hold it for me, Cole said quickly, grabbing her wrist. His eyes hadn't moved an inch. It'll stop in a minute. The weather's just too dry. Oh, okay, Luna replied instinctively. But then it dawned on her. It wasn't the dry weather. It was clearly. Her face instantly turned crimson, the blush spreading rapidly to the tips of her ears. Her body went rigid, her heart leaping in her throat. A war raged inside her between crushing anxiety and a newfound courage. She wanted him to see, yet she was terrified of what he'd think, afraid he'd find her frivolous. She stole a glance at his face, then quickly looked down, fidgeting as she kept the pressure on the tissue. But seeing him like that, she couldn't help but want to smile. In his past life, Cole had never believed in the comical nosebleed trope, but today he was experiencing it firsthand. The spike in blood pressure, the bursting of tiny capillaries in his nose. He blinked his stinging eyes, his soul finally returning to his body. He took the tissue from her and held it himself. I'm fine, Lou. It's just a Rockford climate. Then he gave her a quick, sweeping glance, his face a mask of seriousness while his eyes gleamed with a predatory light. This dress is perfect for you. It's so beautiful. I love looking at you in it. Luna kept her head down, her cheeks completely flushed. To her dismay, she realized she couldn't see her own feet. Try the coat on over it, Cole said, forcing the words out, fighting a powerful surge of emotion. His mind was racing. She needs something to cover this. No one else can see. Okay, Luna whispered, shyly taking the coat and slipping it on. She was already tall and slender, and the coat fit her perfectly. Clothes really do make the woman. The simple change in attire had amplified her charm tenfold. Cole's gaze was scorching, a mixture of profound appreciation for her beauty and a burning passion for his ideals. He swallowed hard, his voice taking on a strange tone. Lou, we need to find something to cover that up. At his words, Luna's face went deathly pale. Did he think it was bad, too? Her body began to tremble. A bitter, sour feeling churned in her stomach, a wave of shame and regret for what she'd done. Her lip quivered, and tears welled in her eyes. Why is he like this, too? Seeing her reaction, Cole realized his mistake. She was sensitive. She must have misinterpreted him. From a moment he saw her, he'd understood what she had done. She must have been binding herself out of fear. He knew it was possible. Many people thought it was impossible to hide such a large chest, but it could be done, though it often caused physical harm. As for what she was afraid of, Cole didn't have to guess, especially for someone from a more rural, conservative area. The stares and whispers of men, the jealousy and side-eye of women, the rumors. For a young girl, these things could be lethal. For her to have made it to Eastwood University, she must have endured a great deal, and likely had protectors. He remembered her mentioning on the night she got her shot that she'd had wonderful female teachers and principals in middle and high school. They must have played a huge role in keeping her safe. Cole's expression softened into a gentle smile, his eyes filled with undisguised adoration. He reached out, wrapped an arm around her stiff, slender waist, and leaned in to whisper in her ear what I meant was, can you only let me see? From disappointment and despair to a radiant dawn, Luna felt like she had just ridden a roller coaster. He didn't think it was bad. He just wanted. Her heart suddenly relaxed, but her lips still trembled, the feeling of injustice not yet faded. Seeing her like this, Cole's heart ached with protectiveness. He stroked her head and pulled her into an embrace. Luna melted into him, her arms wrapping around his waist as she buried her face in his chest and began to sob quietly. That single moment had triggered years of hidden pain, and the tears were unstoppable. I didn't say it right. My mistake, Cole murmured, gently stroking the nape of her neck. Even as he felt her pressing against him, the initial lust had miraculously vanished, replaced by a pure desire to protect her. The hands around his waist tightened, and the sobs grew a little louder. They stood like that for a long while until Luna's tears subsided. They held each other a moment longer, and Cole's roguish heart began to stir again. He leaned his lips close to her earlobe. You still haven't answered me. Is it just for me to see? Yes. Luna's reply was as quiet as a mosquito's buzz. It was only because of the silence in the dressing room that he could hear it at all. That single word ignited the simmering passion in his blood. He moved closer to her ear. I mean, from now on, you'll only show me. Forever. Her earlobe was suddenly brushed by his lips, and a shiver ran through her. She tightened her embrace, her voice as soft as a kitten's. Okay. In that moment, all her worries and sorrows evaporated, replaced by a profound sense of security and warmth. She forgot her shyness, basking in the comfort of no longer being afraid. Just then, the shop owner's voice came from outside. Excuse me, you two, you can't do that in here. Can't do what? Cole's face darkened with annoyance. What does she think we're doing, solving a crime? Lady, your mind is in the gutter. The owner's voice snapped Luna back to reality, and she pulled away from Cole, her face burning with shame. They stepped out of the dressing room together. Ma'am, we'll take both of these, Cole said. Right away. The owner beamed. She had deliberately interrupted them, just in case things got too heated. With two young people and that much chemistry, you never knew. Her mind started turning, and she moved in for the upsell. You know, you can wear a bandeau top under this. It provides coverage without being restrictive. And you should choose wireless, natural-style bras. For days when you want to be more discreet, you can wear a looser top. In the summer, it can make you look a size smaller, and in the fall and winter, you can barely tell. Cole was thrilled. The professional advice couldn't have come at a better time. Great. Can you help us pick some out? We'll take them all. Of course, the owner said happily. The lingerie shop 3 doors down was also hers. Cole continued. Also, we need 3 more outfits for this weather. Long-sleeve tops, pants, jackets. And 3 skirts, 2 more coats. We'll need leggings to go with the skirts, and shoes too. Let's get it all from you. Give me a good deal, and I'll be back for her winter wardrobe. Luna panicked. I can't wear that many clothes. You need them, Cole said, his tone leaving no room for argument. It's getting colder, and clothes take longer to dry. It was his duty to take care of this natural wonder. He stole another glance. A D cup wasn't unheard of, but it depended on who it was on. On another woman, it was a curiosity. On his girl, Cole, the pursuer of ideals, would protect it to the end. Of course. I'll definitely give you a discount, the owner said, already on the phone. She didn't care what the girl thought. She was going to close this deal while the guy was still on fire. Lou, check if my nose is still bleeding, Cole said, leaning in with a sly grin, pretending to let her inspect his nose while his thieving eyes darted downwards. So pale, so big. If I were to, it would be epic. Luna knew exactly what he was doing. She feigned calmness and played along, examining his nose, her heart fluttering with a mixture of shyness and delight. She just didn't know if he would still look at other girls now. She wanted to ask, but the words wouldn't come out. After more than 10 minutes and several nose inspections, the owner finally gathered all the clothes for her to try. Luna tried on each outfit, and for every one, Cole enthusiastically offered his commentary. The glint in his eyes was so bright it could have lit up the dressing room. He was so passionate, he looked like he was about to go in and help her change. But facing this earnest thief, Luna found herself feeling more and more relaxed. She could read a lot in his eyes. There was lust, yes, and deep appreciation, but it was tempered with respect. He could have reached out, but he hadn't. It was a respect tailored for her, because what she wanted was for him to like looking. She even felt a sense of pride and satisfaction. Oomph. If he still looks at other girls, I won't let him see anymore. The autumn wool sweaters suited her perfectly. They were stylish, loose, and comfortable, pairing well with both skirts and jeans. They had to be mid-length, though. Luna's hip-to-waist ratio was significant, forming a perfect crescent moon. The black leggings were perfect for wearing underdresses. After trying everything on and swapping out a couple of sets, they finally made their decision. Luckily, the shop had a card machine. The total came to $852 after a small discount. Luna insisted on seeing the receipt, and her face was a mask of pain when she did. She left the store wearing a long, light gray sweater dress, safety shorts, and new white sneakers. They were carrying so many bags of clothes and shoes they could barely manage. She refused to throw away her old clothes, saying she could still wear them occasionally. The moment they stepped outside, Luna became incredibly nervous. It was her first time wearing an unfamiliar style, with her calves exposed, and she felt terribly self-conscious. But it certainly attracted attention. Everywhere they went, people stared. Luna was already a pretty girl with a slender figure and long legs. This new look made her stand out. Though she hadn't shed her girlish shyness, an elegant, womanly aura was already beginning to show. They loaded several bags onto the front of the e-scooter. Luna held a few more, and they headed back to the Tea Alchemist. Not only did the customers' eyes light up, but Brianna and Wendy were utterly dumbfounded. It was as if Luna had become a completely different person. She was still timid, even resembling a startled fawn, but her entire presence had changed. What did the boss do to her to make her look so shy and flustered? They wondered, but she's walking normally. With a happy heart, Luna threw herself in her work. What made her even happier was that Cole really did stop sneaking glances at other girls. His sly, thieving eyes were fixed entirely on her. A wave of triumphant satisfaction filled her heart. She had won. After closing, Cole helped Luna count the cash and then enthusiastically rode her back to her dorm. The e-scooter, with its mighty top speed of 12 miles per hour, moved at a snail's pace. Cole shamelessly claimed it was because there were too many students on the path and they had to be careful. After being bumped by her soft, full chest multiple times, Cole felt Luna press her forehead against his back. This girl, he thought, her forehead is too hard. It hurts my back. Can we switch back? On the back of the scooter, Luna bit her lip, her face burning from a strange sensation. He's doing this on purpose. When the snail's crawl finally reached the girl's dormitory, Cole, as always, turned and left without any lingering or waiting. This was his ironclad rule. In the face of the ironclad rule, even natural D-cups had to yield. From her sixth-floor window, Luna found Cole's retreating figure in the distance, just as she always did. The moment she entered her room, Brianna and Felicity pounced on her. Brianna snatched the bags from her hands while Felicity touched the fabric of her long sweater dress, cooing over how beautiful the style was. Her other roommates crowded around, touching and feeling her new clothes before diving into the bags. Wow, the Dahlia Boutique. Nice. There are so many. Oh my God, how much did all this cost? At least a few $100s. Why are you still keeping your old clothes? Brianna asked, pulling out the bag with the old outfit. I can still wear them. I'll wear them out first, Luna said, taking the bag and placing it on her bed. She couldn't bear to throw them away. She could wear them in the dorm or on her days off. Felicity's face was full of envy. Your guy is so generous. He just dropped hundreds of dollars without a second thought. Students from wealthy families certainly wore nicer things, but the meaning was different. Hearing Felicity, Luna felt another pang of regret for the cost. A few dozen dollars for a shirt was already very nice. Back in his own dorm, Cole was too wound up to sleep. He almost gave in to a moment of weakness in the bathroom, but decided to save it for later. No sense in wasting it. After a shower, he opened his laptop to check on real estate prices. Frank was on his bed, cooing into his phone, clearly in the honeymoon phase of his new relationship. Who knew if he'd even gotten a kiss yet? Preston was turning his phone over and over in his hands, occasionally glancing at Frank and letting out a contemptuous snort. Javi was on the phone with his family. Cole did a quick search online, focusing on the sale prices of second-hand apartments from the city's property transaction center. The Golden Bay residences had already hit $105 per square foot. That was this month's closing price. If he sold now, he'd clear a profit of at least $30,000. But he didn't need the cash yet, so he decided to hold on to it. It was a great location. Just as he was about to check the online listing prices, Preston let out a series of strangled howls and leaped off his bed. All three of them jumped in fright. Frank held a finger to his lips, releasing a long, forceful stream of air. Then he spoke into his phone in a deep, gentle baritone. Sorry, babe. My roommate just got bit by a dog. Did it scare you? Preston scrambled down from his bunk, rushed over to Cole, and shoved his phone in his face, crowing triumphantly. Look, the master does not strike often, but when he does, he shakes the world. Cole leaned in, curious. On the Facebook Messenger screen were a few messages. What are you up to? Have you eaten? The replies came half an hour later. Here. Yes. Preston's last message read, if I confess my feelings to you, would you say yes? The girl, whose username was you in this dusty world right angle, had just replied, yes. Was the second-generation rich kid about to escape single dom too? Cole was genuinely surprised. Still, the question felt vaguely familiar. Yes, yes, yes. Preston pumped his fist, his face a ferocious mask of triumph, a king glaring down upon his subjects. Javi, sensing a disturbance in the force, turned pale, as if the world were ending. Ooh, Preston let out a long, satisfied breath, preparing to type his reply. But when he looked at the screen, he froze. Cole leaned over. The girl had sent another message. Yes, I would delete you. Haha, she's so funny. Always joking around. Actually, I was just kidding too, haha. Preston forced a couple of laughs. He typed, I was just kidding, don't worry about it. He hit send. A notification popped up. Send failed. Please add this person as a friend to send a message. Cole silently retreated to his chair and went back to his real estate websites. He couldn't bear to watch his heartbroken roommate put on his clown mask. He'd give him some privacy. No wonder it felt familiar. It was a meme from a decade in the future, born from real-life tragedy. Closing the real estate tabs, Cole turned on a VPN and logged into the MT. Gox exchange. He didn't check his own wallet, just the current market price. It had already risen to 30 cents. In his past life, it was only around 12 to 15 cents at this time. His own large purchase had likely driven up the price. Trading volume had been low recently. Otherwise, it would have soared even higher. But that big buy was necessary, scooping up a huge amount while Bitcoin was still obscure. He wasn't planning on getting greedy all at once. He would slowly sell off his holdings, and he had to get out of this exchange by late 2012 or early 2013 at the latest. MT, Gox, based in Japan, will be hacked in early 2014. In his past life, the largest known holder of Bitcoin was Satoshi Nakamoto, a Japanese-American whose true identity was a mystery. They held 1 million coins and had never been hacked or sold a single one. Some even suspected Satoshi was an organization, not an individual. Cole dared to buy hundreds of thousands of coins only because the price was still in cents. If it rose to tens of dollars while he held that much, his account would become a massive target. At only 30 cents, it wasn't worth selling yet, and it wasn't enough to attract serious sharks. He had to wait. He remembered that the price would spike to $30 in June of the next year, but he had to be wary of it happening sooner, since he had altered the timeline. He made a note on his calendar to log in once a week and monitor the price. His plan was to sell about half before June 2011 to reduce his risk profile and lock in profits. Then, in 2013, he would seize the right moment to sell the other half for a massive return and escape to another, more secure exchange that, to his knowledge, was never compromised, even by 2024. The next major milestone was 2017. If he needed cash then, he would sell. It would be a fortune. If not, he'd hold on. Ultimately, this was a world where power mattered. And in the digital age, that kind of capital was power. Logging out of the exchange, Cole took a long breath, letting the chaotic thoughts in his mind settle. By early November, the temperature had dropped into the 40s. The campus was largely devoid of bare legs. The number of couples making out in the cherry blossom grove and on the athletic fields had dwindled. The cold wind had a way of creeping under lifted clothes, which not only increased the risk of catching a cold, but also diminished certain pleasures. Business at the motels near campus, however, was booming. It wasn't appropriate to take Serena out to a secluded spot anymore. Cole considered taking her to his apartment at Golden Bay Residences one day. Nothing untoward, of course, just to enjoy the night view from the balcony together. He strolled over to the Venture Lab. Mr. Shin, take a look. Let us know if the creator platform meets your expectations, Wyatt said, giving up his chair. Cole browsed the site, nodding as he looked. The content layout was remarkably close to the headline today of the future. Now it just needed content to fill the homepage. Good. The next step is to integrate official news feeds. I'll hire editors to handle the other, non-mainstream news. Integrating meant using web crawlers to automatically pull news from across the internet and populate headline today. The eye-catching gossip and human interest stories would have to be curated by his editors. Cole found Jessica, the vice president of the student government, a tall, thin junior with glasses. Jessica, I'm looking to hire a few people from the journalism and literature departments. I need them full-time. Can you recommend anyone? He had met her during the incident at the Tea Alchemist. She was a good person, humble and low-key. Of course, Jessica agreed readily. There are plenty of students who need internships. How many people do you need? This was a good thing for her, too. A chance to do a favor and build connections. She knew a bit about this freshman, mostly about his entrepreneurial ventures. Most importantly, he had gotten approval from the steering committee for his lab space in a single day, which meant he had the dean's backing. 5 for now, Cole said with a smile. Come by the Tea Alchemist sometime, coffee's on me. The 540 square foot office was large enough to section off an area for an editorial department. It's a date. I'll bring my friends, so you can't be cheap, Jessica laughed. She was amazed. This freshman was already running a company in a tea shop chain that had expanded to Eastwood Tech. Was his family sitting on a gold mine? Don't worry, it's all on me, Cole said, patting his chest. A few steps away from the student government office, he ran into a familiar, curvy figure. It was Holly, the student journalist who had interviewed him at the shop. He had thought she was well endowed before, but now his standards had been raised to Himalayan heights. Cole, what a coincidence, Holly said with a sweet smile, a strange glint in her eye. She found herself increasingly drawn to his mature, masculine aura. Hey, Holly, you should come by the shop again sometime. I'll buy you a coffee, Cole smiled back. It was always good to maintain a relationship with the press. They might write articles for him someday. Well, I'll go if you invite me. You never even added me on Facebook, and you're talking about buying me coffee, Holly said, feigning a pout. My bad. I just got a new account. Let's add each other. Cole mentally rolled his eyes at her cutesy act. Serena was the only one who was genuinely cute. But adding her on Facebook could be useful when he launched Headline Today's campus campaign. He took out his phone, and they added each other. Holly smirked to herself. New account, my foot. I can tell from the user ID it's old. After a few more minutes of small talk, Cole excused himself and headed toward the finance department building, which took him past the law school. It was 4 in the afternoon. The sky was overcast, but the air was dry. About 80 yards ahead, he saw a familiar, slender figure. It was Serena. She wasn't alone. A handsome guy was walking beside her. He was tall and stylish in a light-colored track jacket and white casual pants. They were laughing and talking as they walked toward the campus road, where a black car was parked. Even from dozens of yards away, Cole recognized the gleaming Bentley hood ornament. Is she dropping her old flame for a new love? Cole wondered. The guy looked handsome, well-dressed. He had a Bentley, a classic Prince Charming type. How could he possibly compete with that? Serena's family was so involved in politics. It was only natural she'd look for someone with a good family background. In an instant, 3,333 sour, bitter, unanswerable thoughts flooded Cole's mind. He felt like he was being cheated on. Just the day before yesterday, she wanted him to rub her back. And now this? Hell, women. He was furious. He wanted to go up there, but he didn't. Serena was different from Jasmine. He would protect Jasmine to the ends of the earth, but Serena, how could he possibly win against her family? Ugh, this sucks. He was so innocent. He hadn't even kissed her, hadn't even touched her chest. He'd just been her personal masseuse. Cole was filled with regret. He should have devoured her when he had the chance. Now it was too late. His Waterloo. As he watched Serena and the handsome guy about to get into the car, Cole was torn. Fuming, he kicked a nearby planter. Hiss! Ow, damn it! He hopped on one foot, landing on the edge of the planter, a searing pain shooting through his big toe. Idiot! Why kick things? You should have just walked up there and made a dramatic exit. He was so frustrated. Cole! A girl's surprised, happy voice called from the distance. Cole's heart skipped a beat. He looked up. Serena was hopping on her feet and waving, a brilliant smile on her face. The nerve. Is she that happy about her new boyfriend? Wait, was I wrong? Cole gritted his teeth against the pain and stood up, feigning a look of casual discovery as he waved back. With his toe throbbing, he walked toward her with a steady gait and a calm expression. Well, they saw me. Might as well go over there. The 80-yard walk felt like miles, his mind a turbulent mess. As he got closer, he could see the guy more clearly. He looked to be in his mid-20s. Serena bounced toward him like a happy deer, her hands behind her back, bouncing on the balls of her feet. Cole, were you looking for me? She asked cheerfully. Haha, yeah, I was just at the Venture Lab and happened to be passing by, Cole said, his face a mask of composure while his toe screamed inside his shoe. Serena, who's this? The handsome guy asked, walking over, his eyes full of inquiry. This is Cole. He was my classmate in middle and high school, and now in college. He's a good friend, Serena explained, her eyes turning soft and watery when she looked at Cole. Cole, this is my cousin, Spencer Chun. My second uncle's son. He was just passing through and came to see me. Cousin? Second uncle's son? A jolt went through Cole. It was like drinking a glass of iced honey water in the middle of a desert. He enthusiastically stepped forward, grabbed Spencer's hand with both of his, and shook it vigorously, his face radiating sincerity. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Cole. So what if he's handsome? Of course, Serena's relatives are handsome. Cole suddenly remembered she had mentioned that a cousin on her second uncle's side had given up politics for business. This must be him. Oh, hello, Spencer replied, baffled by the overwhelming enthusiasm. He chuckled awkwardly and had to use a bit of force to pull his hand back. Serena's classmate is a little weird, but he could tell there was something going on between them. He didn't press it, though. There would be time to ask later. Cole, I'm going to show my cousin around the area. I'll message you when I get back. Okay, Serena said, a hint of apology in her eyes, as if she were afraid he'd be upset. Of course. Go have fun. Cole was ecstatic, his smile as bright as a sunflower. The pain in his toe was a joyous throb. I'll go then, Serena said, her gaze full of reluctance to leave. Yep, go on, Cole nodded happily. Spencer stood by, speechless. Why did that sound like she was reporting her movements to him? As Serena and her cousin got into the car, Cole noticed the out-of-state license plate. He waved at Serena, who was looking back at him from the window, giving her a look that said, Go, don't worry, have fun. The Bentley drove toward the main gate of Eastwood University, and Cole, humming a tune, turned toward the finance department. Inside the car, Spencer kept his eyes on the road, asking casually, Serena, what does this Cole's family do? Nothing much. His mom is a teacher, and his dad is an accountant, I think, Serena answered truthfully. Hearing this, a strange look flickered in Spencer's eyes. He continued, Are you two very good friends? He put a slight emphasis on the words, very good. Yes, we are, Serena said, a blush creeping up her cheeks. How good? Spencer wasn't going to let it go. He had to dig deeper. Just, very good, Serena said, her heart starting to race. It was true. They were very good friends who could talk about anything. It's just that their interactions weren't limited to talking. Their hands were often involved, too. As a man of the world, Spencer knew what that meant. They were dating. He was a little shocked. His cousin, who had always been so obedient and well-behaved, had started dating the moment she got to college. If her parents found out, he didn't even want to imagine it. Serena was their only child, and her mother had such high hopes for her. This could affect her studies. And if her academics slipped, certain paths would become much harder to walk. Spencer sighed internally. After a moment of silence, he couldn't help but start lecturing. Serena, you really need to focus more on your classes. A law degree is an excellent stepping stone. Eastwood has some great professors. In the future, you could get a Ph.D., and your career would be set. You're one to talk, Serena interrupted, a hint of annoyance in her voice. Why didn't you get Ph.D.? Uncle had it all arranged for you, and you didn't go. That was what? You had a girlfriend your freshman year and skipped class all the time. And now you're lecturing me. Are you still my favorite cousin or not? Serena pouted, turning to look out the window. Whoa. Spencer was stunned. What was happening? Serena was actually talking back to him. She had never done that before. She had always been so compliant. Thinking of his own past, he felt a bit embarrassed and tried to justify himself. That's because I didn't have the talent for it. Your mom said you have a keen mind for law. I have some interest in law, Serena said, her gaze a little distant. I suppose I needed a major anyway. It wasn't a lie. She had been indoctrinated with it since she was a child, so a certain curiosity had taken root. She had gotten used to following the path her mother had laid out. If you're interested, then you can't let it go to waste. Spencer thought he'd hit on the right point and tried to press his advantage. The higher you go in a field you're interested in, the better. When you reach a certain level, you'll realize how much time you wasted on other meaningless things. Is that what you think? Serena turned to look at her cousin, her eyes deep and knowing. She continued slowly. So, the reason you're running around free as a bird now is because you've had this great realization? Spencer was speechless. His cousin's gaze made him feel a little guilty. He was also more surprised than ever. Serena had changed so much. She would never have spoken like this before. Serena, his family background is just average. Do you really think he can handle the pressure? Spencer tried attacking from another angle, a common scenario in these situations. He's my old classmate and a very good friend. What pressure does he need to handle? Serena said, her eyes flickering as she feigned ignorance. Admitting it outright was not an option. If her mother found out, there would be another family tribunal, unless... She blinked. If he really needs to handle pressure, then you can just lend me some money, cousin. I'll have him start his own business in his sophomore year. What? Spencer's eyes went wide. My God, she's going to be his sugar mama. If his aunt found out, she would probably die of anger. Seeing her cousin's silence, Serena looked displeased. So are you going to lend it to me or not? Yes. Fine. I give up. Serena Chun, you've changed. Spencer was at a loss for words. What on earth had happened? He was a handsome, rich guy, and he'd never had a girl offer to fund him. Fine, I'll lend it to her, he thought. He'd just placate her for now. Maybe they'd break up in a few months anyway. It was rare for college relationships to last 4 years, let alone a lifetime. And if they did make it, what was $20,000 or $30,000? How much could a startup possibly cost? I haven't changed. I've always been me, Serena said coolly, her bright eyes fixed on the road ahead. I just don't think I'm suited for a career in politics. Every time I think about it, I feel immense pressure. Spencer fell silent. He understood, because it was the same reason he had left that path. But his cousin was the only child of her family. They needed her. Her mother needed her. In the end, his own family needed her. They even needed her marriage. A girl with beauty, talent, and family connections held an incredibly important position. But he couldn't say these things out loud. This is going to be difficult. Serena, he sighed to himself. Cousin, you'll understand, right? Serena glanced at Spencer. Of course I support your choices, Spencer said, the words feeling false on his tongue. He could understand, but could her uncles, her other cousins, her parents understand? Thank you. If even you didn't understand, I was going to get out of the car. Serena threatened him with a brilliant smile. What are you talking about? How could I not understand you? We're the best of siblings. Spencer grumbled internally. What did that Cole guy do to turn my cousin into this? She's even threatening her own cousin now. But he knew deep down that these were all Serena's own ideas. His cousin was incredibly smart and clear-headed. It was just that everyone had always treated her like a child, overlooking some of her key traits. You're my best cousin. Remember not to tell your aunt, okay? Serena said with a sweet smile. Spencer's mouth twisted like a wrung-out rag. I know, he grumbled. He felt a sour pang of jealousy. It was true what they said about girls changing. They used to be so close. And now, she was already siding with an outsider and even planning to fleece him to fund the guy. How was he supposed to feel about that? Gazing out the window, Serena's thoughts had already drifted far away, a faint blush on her cheeks. I fell asleep next to him so many times. Did he take the opportunity to touch me anywhere else? Next time, I'll have to pretend to be asleep. The overcast sky had cleared, and the late autumn sun streamed down. It took 2 days to assemble the 5-person editorial team. During that time, Cole had all the office equipment for the new department delivered, using a contact Wyatt knew. Cole met with the 5 of them in the Venture Labs common conference room. There were 3 girls and 2 guys, 1 sophomore girl and 4 juniors. They were all curious and a little skeptical. Their new boss was impossibly young. If it weren't for the student government's recommendation, they would have found it hard to believe that a freshman was running a company. Hello, everyone. My name is Cole Chun. Please introduce yourselves. Feel free to talk about your hobbies, your opinions, whatever you like, Cole said with a smile. He needed to observe their thinking and communication skills. He couldn't have them writing interesting stories like government reports. I'll go first. Hello, Mr. Chun. My name is Fiona. I'm a junior in the journalism school. A long-haired girl stood up. She was well-spoken and poised, with a neat appearance and light makeup. She had extensive part-time experience, had been a vice president in the student government's press department, and had even submitted articles to magazines, but she had never had a formal job in media. One by one, they introduced themselves. Only the inexperienced sophomore was a bit shy, but she still expressed herself clearly. Fiona was by far the most outstanding, with a quick mind and an aggressive, ambitious energy. This is both a meet and greet and a mission briefing, Cole said, looking around at the 5 of them with a faint smile. I like to be direct. The base salary is $18 an hour, with bonuses calculated separately. A good article with high readership will naturally earn a high bonus. I want to emphasize that if you do your job well, your bonus will most likely be higher than your base pay. Their faces lit up with surprise. $18 an hour was an excellent starting wage. Journalism majors faced fierce competition after graduation. If they were lucky, they'd land an editing job at a website or magazine for about that much. If they were unlucky, they'd end up in an unrelated field for even less. And on top of that, there were bonuses. My requirement is this. The news must be interesting, and the headlines must be eye-catching. They have to grab the reader's attention immediately. Mr. Chun, I have a question, Fiona said, raising her hand. Go ahead. Can we write misleading headlines, or even fake news, as long as it generates traffic? Let's just drop the misleading part, a male student chimed in, raising his hand. Then how do we attract people? Or rather, after we attract them, if the content doesn't match the headline, how do we handle the negative backlash? That's a good question, Cole said with a nod and a smile. Let me give you an analogy. If I point at the sky and say, look, a UFO, wouldn't you be curious and look up too? They all nodded without thinking. Of course they would. Cole continued. After you look up and see there's no UFO, you'd be disappointed, right? You'd say, I was lying. They nodded again. But does that matter? What matters is that you looked up. You even spent a few seconds scanning the sky to confirm there was no UFO. Then the 5 of you leave, but 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more people come along, and they look up at the sky, repeating the exact same thing you just did. They looked thoughtful. Cole went on, let me give you another example. You're walking down the street, and you see a crowd gather up ahead. You'd assume something happened and get curious, right? Right, Fiona nodded. So you push your way into the crowd and see nothing. Just an old woman sitting on the ground, not saying a word. At this point, even though you don't know what's going on, you'd still want to keep watching, right? Yes, that happened to me once, one of the guys said. I saw a crowd and thought it was a car crash. I got in there and there was nothing. I don't know what they were all looking at, but they were all whispering. I waited and waited, trying to figure it out, but nobody could say what happened. So what's inside the circle isn't important, Cole said, smiling. And the backlash isn't important. So what is important? It's about making them think what they want is inside, Fiona said, her hand shooting up. Exactly. Cole beamed with approval, then pushed further. So, what kind of spell do we cast to make them think that? The headline. Fiona answered immediately, while the other 4 were still pondering. Bingo. Cole snapped his fingers, completely satisfied. Herd mentality, the sheep effect, it worked everywhere. Fiona was quick on her feet and had experience. She was the obvious choice to lead the content team. Someone has to be in charge, he thought. Might as well be her. All right, let me outline our main focus, Cole said, pulling their attention back. For the foreseeable future, we are targeting the student population, all the universities in this area. That means the news has to align with young people's interests. It needs to be eye-catching, explosive, enough to make them stop and stare. Hearing the words, young people, the 5 of them felt a strange dissonance. The youngest person in the room was lecturing them about young people. It felt odd. The most important thing is the headline. It has to grab them, guide them, and get them fired up enough to comment. So bait and switch, a sharp-witted sophomore named Yvonne piped up. Cole silently rescinded the mental gold star he'd just given her. Did you have to say the quiet part out loud? He pretended not to hear her. Okay, you can all get started. I'll be in the office for a while, so if you have any questions, just ask. He stood up. Time was wasting. The 540-square-foot office was now divided into 2 sections, the engineering department and the content department. For now, each editor was given 10 internal accounts to start posting with. Cole, meanwhile, began to assemble a promotions team to spread the website to every corner of campus. He also needed to hire 2 professional writers to serialize their own work on the site to serve as an example. He reached out to Jessica from the student government again. She was a natural at HR, and it was a shame she was planning on a civil service career. Otherwise, Cole would have poached her in a heartbeat. Cole, what do you think of this? Fiona raised her hand. Cole walked over to look at her screen. The headline read, He and She, A Chance Encounter with a Stray Cat. The story was about a couple who meet while feeding a stray. The headline isn't catchy enough, Cole said, shaking his head. As quick as Fiona was, she was still constrained by the current environment, not yet bold enough to innovate. A flicker of defiance crossed Fiona's face. But students love this kind of romantic stuff. I know people who... You don't know them as well as you think. Cole cut her off. Here, let me show you. Fiona moved aside, a skeptical look on her face. She was curious to see what kind of masterpiece the freshman CEO could cook up. Cole deleted her title and typed, Shocking. A guy and a girl caught doing this in the woods. This style of clickbait wouldn't become mainstream for years. Right now it was fresh, novel, and perfect for tricking. Attracting a lot of users. Without waiting for the dumbfounded Fiona's reaction, he waved to Wyatt. Hey, Wyatt, come take a look at this. Wyatt walked over, curious. Wyatt, Cole said, you see this headline? Are you interested? Shocking. A guy and a girl. A flash of illicit excitement crossed Wyatt's face. He feigned composure. A little, I guess. Just a little? Then I guess you don't need to see the content, Cole said, turning away. Hey, wait. I'm interested. Let me see. Wyatt protested, a hint of impatience in his voice. Before you do, look at this other headline. Does it interest you? Cole typed Fiona's original title in a blank space. Not really. Sounds boring, Wyatt said, shaking his head dismissively. Fiona's face flushed. Is everyone really this crude? Has romance lost its appeal? All right, fine, I'll let you see it. A mischievous grin spread across Cole's face as he clicked open the story. Wyatt leaned in, his eyes scanning the text hungrily. His initial excitement slowly gave way to confusion, then annoyance. Wait a minute, where's the... The what? Cole asked, feigning innocence. You know, a guy and a girl. That kind of thing, Wyatt whispered, a clear sense of having been duped in his voice. Fiona's face was now beet red. Are all men like this? Isn't this that kind of thing? They're feeding a cat. Where did your mind go, Wyatt? Cole asked, his expression one of pure disdain. What the hell? The realization dawned on Wyatt, and he stomped back to his desk in a huff. Cole looked at Fiona with a half-smile. Get it now? If not, I can call someone else over. He waved to Jenna from the engineering team. Jenna, which of these two headlines makes you want to click more? Since Wyatt hadn't spoiled the secret, Jenna was coming in fresh. She saw the he and she title and showed a flicker of interest. But when her eyes landed on the guy and a girl headline, they positively lit up. She hesitated for a moment before reluctantly pointing to the first one. This one, I guess. But her eyes kept darting back to the other. Okay, then I'll just delete this article. But you don't want to read it first, just in case. Cole deliberately hovered the mouse over the clickbait title. Jenna wrestled with herself for a second. I guess I'll take a look, just for comparison. When the story opened, she read for a moment, her expression clearly disappointed. It's just, okay. Do you still want to read the other one? No, I'm good. From across the room, Wyatt burst out laughing. Fiona looked dejected, as if she'd just discovered the world was a far uglier place than she'd imagined. How about this? Cole said, seeing her disappointment. You can also come up with the headlines you want to write. We'll see which style gets more clicks. How does that sound? Okay, Fiona said, feeling a little better. She refused to believe it. Romance had to be the true winner. I have one more requirement for the stories, Cole said, a strange smile on his face. What is it? Take this story, for example. The couple who met because of stray cat. In the end, they should also break up because of that same stray cat. What? Why? A breakup isn't a perfect ending. Because regret, missed chances, and separation are what leave the most profound scars, Cole said with a serene smile. Tragedy is the best way to drive up engagement. Write a tragedy, break a couple up, and watch the numbers soar. All the popular short stories online are the ones that rip your heart out, the ones that make readers cry while demanding more. This new manager of his still needed some training. He'd see if she could adapt. If not, he'd have to find someone who could. That afternoon, he interviewed another 7 or 8 candidates for the promotions team. They were all juniors, capable, and a few were natural extroverts. One junior, in particular, stood out, a classic social butterfly. When they heard the salary Cole was offering, plus reimbursement for travel expenses, they were ecstatic. They desperately needed internship experience, and getting paid this well for it was a godsend. Plus, this was a startup. If it took off, getting in on the ground floor meant huge future benefits. Both of his companies now needed an administrative department. Cole had already decided on Jasmine. She was the only choice. With the growing number of employees, the role was essential. She could hire a person or two to help her and could even work remotely, dropping by the office occasionally. Soon, he'd need someone to handle payroll and benefits. An admin and finance department were non-negotiable. His finance chief, Luna, also needed to get up to speed soon. He worked until just after 5, planning ahead over to the original tea alchemist shop. His phone buzzed with a series of pings from Facebook Messenger. It was his campus queen. Serena, Cole, my feet are killing me. Spencer dragged me all over town today. Cole figured he'd be a bit late, so he'd better help out at the shop during the evening rush first. Only Wendy and the 2 new hires were there. Bree was taking the night off to study and catch up on classes she'd missed. He replied, how about 8? I need to hit the library and catch up on some work. An audio message came back instantly. It was a long, drawn-out, melodious whine. No, I need you know. The playful, cooing sound reverberated through Cole's very soul, a kitten scratching playfully at his left ventricle, then his right. The itch was unbearable. Sorry, Wendy, he thought. You're going to have to hold down the fort. Cole considered himself a man filled with positive energy, and easing his campus queen's aches and pains was his solemn duty. It was a vital role he was more than happy to fill. And now, she'd even started using those cute, drawn-out words. Ever since that night at the food truck strip, it was like she had unlocked a new level of flirtation. The woman was a natural. Here, he was a man with the worldly soul of a 32-year-old, and he was getting flustered, his heart hammering in his chest. His mind was filled with her impossibly cute face and those perfect, porcelain-white little feet. All right, time to move out. He had a crucial mission to complete. Serena said she was almost back on campus and told him to meet her at the law school's dining hall. Cole was hungry anyway, so he headed over to wait. He couldn't perform his duties on an empty stomach. The law school dining hall was only half full. Cole found a relatively empty table and scrolled through his phone while he waited. About 10 minutes later, while he was reading an article about PayPal's new promotional campaign. The low hum of the cafeteria was broken by a rising commotion. Listening closely, he realized it was an argument. A girl's voice was getting louder. "What is there to see? When have you ever asked to look at my phone? Why won't you let me see yours? You just don't trust me." Drama. Cole looked up. At a table by the window, a girl, maybe 5'3", stood up, clutching her phone behind her back. The ends of her hair were curled, and she wore a khaki trench coat that showed off a slender figure. Two other girls sat with her. The guy she was yelling at had his back to Cole. He was about 5'9", dressed neatly. He had two friends with him as well. 3-on-3. The guy's voice was laced with a mix of hurt and stubbornness. "You can see mine. I just think that if we're together, we should be honest with each other. What's the big deal about looking? If you trusted me, it wouldn't matter whether you looked or not. So why do you have to look?" The guy, not a natural debater, was left speechless. His eyes were filled with a pained struggle. Finally, he managed to stammer out, "What's the harm in looking? Unless you have something on your phone I can't see. You just assume I have other guys in my DMs. You're so paranoid. You don't have a shred of basic trust. Let's just call it what it is. You're insecure." The girl went on the offensive, her voice becoming shrill. It seemed to vibrate through the entire dining hall. "And besides, so what if I'm talking to other guys? Is talking a crime now? Am I in solitary confinement just because I'm with you? Did I lose my freedom to have friends?" Like every other student in the vicinity, Cole could no longer focus on his phone. He was now a forced spectator. It was a scene that would become all too common in the years to come. Nothing new. The guy was paralyzed by the words paranoid and insecure. He had instantly lost the upper hand. If he looked, he was paranoid and insecure. If he didn't, he'd be eaten alive by suspicion. He fell silent, his face a mask of conflict. What guy wanted his girlfriend to call him insecure in front of a crowd? It was a total loss of face. Perhaps spurred on by the girl's furious expression, the guy's face twisted in agony before he finally exploded. "I just think you're flirting with other guys. If you're not, then give me the phone. If I'm wrong, I'll do whatever you want." He turned the tables. The girl was momentarily stunned into silence. 2 seconds later, she detonated. "Liam, besides accusing me, what have you ever done for me?" "Nothing. Since you don't trust me, let's just break up." Other girls let their boyfriends see their phones. "Why can't you? The minute I push, you want to break up. You're obviously guilty." The guy was getting smarter, pressing his advantage. Cole knew that whether the phone was checked or not, this relationship was over. All that was left was an endless cycle of fighting. "I must have been F.N.G. blind to end up with someone like you." The girl spat, all pretense of civility gone. Her words were now weapons. "I'm the one who was F.I.N.G. blind. I don't know why I ever got with you. Weren't you the one who said I was hot? That I was just your type? Huh." The guy's pride was backed into a corner, and all he could do was fight back. What might have started as a small disagreement had devolved into mutual destruction. Most of the students in the dining hall were watching now. A few whispered amongst themselves, but most were silent. Without proof, it was hard to say the girl was definitely in the wrong. Maybe she just valued her privacy. As long as he didn't see the phone, she was invincible. The girl was so enraged her face was contorted. She pointed a trembling finger at him. "You have no shame. You think you're so hot that I can't live without you? Fine. You think I'm flirting with other guys? I'll show you flirting. As of right now, we are officially broken up, and what I do from now on is none of your damn business." "Break up, then. It's no big deal." The guy sneered, trying to save face. And so, Eastwood University gains another pair of sworn enemies. Cole sighed internally. The girl's anger reached its peak. "Fine. You said I only liked you for your looks? Fine. I'll prove you wrong." She stepped away from her table and scanned the room, shouting like a madwoman. "I'm single now. Anyone want to get my number? I don't care if you're hot or not, as long as you're a guy." Her friends tried to pull her back, but she shook them off. The guy was trapped. He kept up his sneer to maintain his dignity, turning to glare at her. He was, to be fair, pretty good-looking. Among the guys in the dining hall, some were tempted, but no one moved. Nobody wanted to get involved in that mess. Seeing no response, the girl's relatively attractive face turned ashen. "No takers? Fine, I'll do the asking. I'll just find someone average. Not even hot." Her two friends tried again to pull her away, but it was no use. They gave up and looked down, mortified. "You with the glasses. Let me get your number," she said, walking straight up to a guy wearing glasses. The bespectacled student was instantly flustered. He wanted to say yes, but was too embarrassed. He awkwardly mumbled, "No thanks." This clearly just provoked her more. She shot a cold glare around the room, and her eyes finally landed on Cole, sitting by himself in the corner. "Oh no," Cole groaned internally. "Don't you dare. Please don't come over here." But she did. She even tossed her hair back, forcing a rebellious smile. Hey, freshman, let's trade numbers. Cole was speechless. Are you kidding me? Am I the guy you pick for average, not even hot? What is wrong with your eyes? 3 of the most beautiful girls on campus think I'm hot. Did you forget to wipe the sleep out of your eyes this morning? This is an insult. He forced a particularly pained smile. Sorry, Junior. I don't really give out my number. Perhaps because he was sitting alone, the girl slid into the seat next to him. A faint scent of perfume wafted over. Her tone became soft and cloying. Come on, just one number. I'm single now. If you ask me out, I'll go. Anywhere you want. Anything you want. He's the hottest one here. Who else would I ask? She thought. I'm getting his number. Oh, for the love of God. Cole was exasperated. If you want revenge, go find someone else. I'm busy, lady. And that average, not hot comment really stings. Across the room, the ex-boyfriend's eyes were practically shooting flames. The other students watched with rapt attention, waiting for Cole's response. If he said yes, tonight was going to be an explosive one. The girl took out her phone, pulled up her contact info, and purred, "Come on, freshman, add me. I'll go out with you tonight." Just then, a clear but icy voice cut through the air. Who's he adding? And who is he going out with? The entire dining hall fell silent. All eyes turned toward the source of the voice. The moment he heard the voice, Cole knew his campus queen had arrived. Perfect timing, he thought. You're a personal technician now. 88 has just been classified as average and not hot. I'm feeling very wronged. He turned to look. Serena had changed her outfit. She was wearing a long, orange hoodie with a cartoon bear on it, the hem reaching her mid-thigh. It was paired with a white, mid-length pleated skirt, white sneakers, and white crew socks. The vibrant orange and fresh white made the already peerless campus queen practically radiate light. Her perfectly straight legs, framed by the white socks, looked delicate and flawless. As he stood up, Cole had to swallow hard. Her expression was cold, her gaze resting lightly on the other girl. Many in the dining hall recognized the undisputed flower of the law school. That ethereal aura belonged to only one person on campus. But this girl, who wasn't from the law school, clearly didn't know her. Her eyes filled with jealousy. A woman with Serena's level of beauty was almost guaranteed to be resented by her peers. Spurred by a sudden competitive streak, the girl forced a smile. He's going to get my number and ask me out. No, I'm not. Don't put words in my mouth. You all saw it. I was just sitting here, minding my own business. I'm the victim here. And also, I'm actually pretty hot, right? Cole protested, backing away toward Serena while pointedly emphasizing his own attractiveness. He said no, so it's no, Serena stated, her gaze unwavering. She closed the distance, her long legs carrying her forward, and gently looped her arm through Cole's. And he doesn't need to. For the record, I think he's handsome. To me, there's no man more handsome than him. The whole drama with the girl had only lasted a minute or so. Serena had heard everything as she approached the dining hall. The shouting was too loud to miss. Hearing Serena's declaration, Cole was so moved he nearly burst into tears. What excellent taste. The only one who truly appreciates my good looks is my campus queen. Well, okay, and 2 others. He fought back a triumphant grin. This was a moment that called for calm, collected coolness, but now they couldn't.